So for this lab, we're gonna need quite a few ingredients, and we have 2 steps. So step number 1 and then step number 2. For step number 1, we're gonna need a hot plate, something to put this in, all that. We're gonna need some sterile alcohol, looks like this, and some wax, which is beeswax as well, some cholesterol, and some petroleum jelly. It is a jelly? I believe so. So some petroleum. For the second part, we're gonna need some mineral oil, zinc oxide, starch, mortar and pestle, and an ointment slab. So the first step is to add the sterile alcohol and the wax into this and put it at a heat of like about 65 degrees Celsius, and we're gonna wait for it to melt. And now that it's all melted, we are going to add our cholesterol. Right, we are going to wait for that to melt as well. We are not gonna stir this yet. And last thing we're gonna add is the petroleum. So now that this is all melted, we're gonna start adding our petroleum jelly. Now this is our second part. While I wait for this one to melt, I'm gonna keep an eye on it because I don't want it to overheat or burn. We're gonna start that second part. We're gonna add our starch and our zinc oxide together. Yep. And we are going to titrate these together. And now we are going to add our lavigating agent, which is the mineral oil. I mean, you should do this with a syringe, but I was pre-preparing it. Now we're gonna mix this. The mineral oil is a hydrophobic lavigating agent. The reason why we care about whether it's hydrophobic and hydrophilic, for example, the use of glycerin is a hydrophilic lavigating agent or wetting agent, which is miscible with water. But then if we're going to add, let's say, the mineral oil to a watery based compound, it is not going to be miscible and it's going to separate. But for this one, we are mainly using oils, so we're using the hydrophobic lavigating agent, which is the mineral oil. And again, we don't want to use like the glycerin because the glycerin is a hydrophilic agent and it won't be miscible with our current compound. So this is how it looks like. It's a very smooth paste. There is very little amount, so we're gonna have to do a very good job taking all of that out and putting on the slab. It's kind of a funny word, isn't it? So now this is completely melted. I am going to go ahead and continuously stir it with a glass rod very gently until it congeals. It is going to take a minute to congeal. You do not have to keep absolutely stirring it until it congeals. You can rest for a bit. I might leave it for a second right over here and just wait for a minute for it to cool down a little bit more. I went ahead and transferred the zinc oxide and starch mixture over here on the ointment slab. This is almost good, and I'm gonna weigh some of it before adding it in here, and we will be ready to start spatulating. All right, so now that I weighed out some of that petroleum mixture, I am going to go ahead and gradually add it to this one right here, and again, gradually. Now this is the spatulation method. So the reason why I brought it up to the edge a little bit is because the spatula is not long enough and you want to be able to like press it enough. Let me just hold this. We're gonna spread. And do this. Gather it again. I'm gonna add a little bit more. This is our final ointment compound. It should be white. So the remainder of our base, we are going to do this test. This test is going to show us how this compound is going to absorb water. We're gonna do it with the base only, not when we mixed it with the starch and the zinc oxide. The petroleum jelly on its own is hydrophobic and is anhydrous. Anhydrous means that it is going to try to kick out the water and it's not going to absorb it. But because we added the cholesterol to it and other components, now we made it into a compound that is supposed to be able to absorb water. So that's why it's called anhydrous absorption base. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of water to it. You don't have to add a lot, just a little bit, enough to see how it goes. And now we're going to incorporate that and spatulate it together. Yes, the water is leaking. Okay, here we go. Now we're gonna continue to do that. And you will start to see that slowly the compound is absorbing the water. You're gonna have to work it in a little bit. It's not gonna just absorb it right away because it is an ointment base. As you can see, now the water is mostly absorbed, not mostly actually, all of it. Now to cleaning. Because we are working with an ointment and compounds that tend to be sticky and hard to clean, so I'm getting all of it off of here. This is your friend when it comes to cleaning. Maybe some of it is still in here. I'm going to try my best to get almost everything out with the spatula. This is how it should look like. It's almost clean. Now this is ready to be washed. I'll do the same with this right here. So now all of this is 10 times easier to clean. And that's all.